Hello, everyone. Welcome back to How It All Started. I'm Maya.
And I'm Vito. Happy to have you back for episode number 2.
So, if you're listening to this right now, chances are you're somewhere in the northern hemisphere where it's winter. And if you look outside, depending on where you live, you might see something pretty magical: snow.
Oh, yeah. Some places are getting totally buried right now. Like, there are parts of Canada and Northern Europe where people have snow up to their windows.
Right? And that got us thinking, what even is snow? Like, we all know it's cold and white and fluffy, but how does it actually work?
So, Maya, let's start with the basics. Why does it snow in the first place?
Great question. So, snow happens because of a combination of cold air and water vapor. You need three main things: moisture in the air, temperatures below freezing, that's 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and something called nuclei.
Wait, like the nucleus from science class? The center of an atom?
Similar idea. In this case, nuclei are tiny particles floating in the air, little specks of dust, pollen, or even bacteria. Water vapor in the clouds needs something to cling to, and these particles are perfect.
So, snow starts with. Dirt?
Pretty much. Tiny, microscopic dirt. When water vapor in a cloud touches one of these particles and the temperature is below freezing, it freezes into a tiny ice crystal. That's the beginning of a snowflake.
Okay, but how does it go from one tiny crystal to those big fluffy snowflakes we catch on our tongues?
That's where it gets cool. So once that first ice crystal forms, it starts falling through the cloud. As it falls, more water vapor freezes onto it, making it bigger and bigger. The crystal grows these beautiful six-sided branches because of the way water molecules bond together.
Is that why every snowflake looks different?
Exactly. Each snowflake takes a slightly different path through the cloud, experiencing different temperatures and moisture levels. So even though they all have that six-sided structure, the patterns are unique. It's like they each have their own journey.
That's actually kind of poetic. But how does the snow actually get to the ground? Like, what's the full process?
So here's how it works. The ice crystal keeps growing in the cloud until it's heavy enough that gravity pulls it down. If the air between the cloud and the ground stays below freezing the whole way down, you get snow. But if it warms up on the way down, the snowflake melts and becomes rain.
Oh, so that's why sometimes it's snowing up in the mountains but raining down in the valley.
Exactly. Temperature is everything. That's also why snow is fluffier when it's really cold, around minus 10 degrees Celsius or 14 Fahrenheit, because the crystals stay dry and don't stick together much.
And when it's warmer, you get that wet, heavy snow that's perfect for snowballs.
Yep, that's when the temperature is just barely below freezing, so the snow is a bit melty and sticky. Great for snowmen, terrible for shoveling.
Okay, so now I'm curious, are there places where it never snows?
Oh, absolutely. Most of the tropics never see snow. Places near the equator like Singapore, most of Brazil, Central Africa, and Northern Australia have never recorded snowfall.
Never? Not even once?
Nope, it's just too warm year-round. Remember, you need temperatures below freezing for snow, and these places stay warm all year because of how the sun hits the Earth at the equator.
So what about deserts? Does it snow in the Sahara?
Actually, fun fact, it has snowed in the Sahara Desert. Not often, but it's happened a few times. Once in 1979 and then again in 2018. People got pictures of sand dunes covered in snow. It looked so weird.
Sand and snow? That's wild.
Right? But generally, most hot deserts don't get snow. The driest places on Earth also rarely get snow because there's no moisture in the air. Like parts of Antarctica, ironically, even though it's covered in ice, some areas are technically deserts because they get so little precipitation.
Okay, wait, so Antarctica is a desert?
Parts of it, yeah. It's a cold desert. Which brings us to the opposite question. Where does it snow all year round?
Ooh, like a winter wonderland 24/7?
Exactly. The places with permanent snow are usually really high mountains or polar regions, like the tops of Mount Everest, K2, the Alps above a certain elevation, the Himalayas. These places have snow year-round because they're so high up that it never gets warm enough to melt.
So elevation matters as much as latitude.
Totally. You can actually find permanent snow near the equator if you go high enough. Like Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, it's in Africa, pretty close to the equator, but the peak has snow and glaciers because it's almost 6,000 meters high.
That's insane. You could be in a hot jungle at the bottom and in snow at the top.
Yup. And then there are the polar regions. Antarctica and most of Greenland have snow and ice all year round. Some parts of northern Canada, Alaska, and Siberia also have permafrost and snow that doesn't fully melt even in summer.
Okay, so speaking of those super cold places, how do animals deal with all this snow and cold? Like, we can just put on a jacket, but what do they do?
Animals have developed some seriously cool adaptations. Let's start with the classics: hibernation. Bears, ground squirrels, and some bats basically just sleep through the worst of winter.
Best strategy ever.
Right? They eat a ton in the fall to build up fat reserves, then find a cozy den, and their metabolism slows way down. Their heart rate drops, their body temperature decreases, and they just wait it out.
Living the dream. But not all animals hibernate, right?
Nope. Some have other strategies, like Arctic foxes and polar bears have incredibly thick fur, sometimes 2 layers. The outer layer is long and water resistant, and the inner layer is dense and fluffy for insulation.
So they're basically wearing 2 coats at once.
Exactly. And polar bears have an extra trick. Their skin is actually black under all that white fur. The black skin absorbs heat from the sun, and the hollow fur helps trap that heat.
Wait, what? Their fur is hollow?
Yup, each hair is like a tiny tube. It helps with insulation and also makes them look white even though the fur itself is actually transparent. The white appearance comes from how light reflects off the hollow structure.
That's so clever. What about smaller animals like mice and rabbits?
Great question. A lot of small mammals build up extra fat for insulation and grow thicker winter coats. Some, like snowshoe hares, even change color. They're brown in summer but turn white in winter to blend in with the snow.
Ooh, camouflage.
Exactly. It helps them hide from predators. And then there are animals that migrate. They just leave. Birds are famous for this. They fly south to warmer places where there's still food available.
Smart move. But what about the animals that stay? How do they find food under all this snow?
Some animals, like squirrels and jays, cache food. They hide nuts and seeds in the fall and then dig them up in winter. Foxes and wolves have incredible hearing and can actually hear mice moving under the snow, then pounce through it to catch them.
No way! They can hear through snow?
Yup, and deer and moose use their hooves to dig through snow to reach grass and plants underneath. Penguins huddle together in massive groups to share body heat. They actually rotate positions so everyone gets a turn in the warm middle.
Aw, that's actually really sweet. They're helping each other out.
I know, right? Nature is amazing. And fish, they have it pretty easy. Lakes and rivers freeze on top, but the water underneath stays liquid, so fish just hang out at the bottom where it's warmer.
Okay, so animals have all these cool survival strategies, but what about us? What should we do in the snow?
Well, hopefully something more fun than just surviving.
Right, so what are the best snow activities for kids?
Oh, there are so many. The classics are sledding, building snowmen, and having snowball fights. But there's also snow angels, building snow forts, making ice sculptures.
I love sledding. There's nothing like flying down a hill at top speed.
Just make sure you're doing it safely. Choose hills without trees or roads at the bottom, and always wear a helmet. And here's a fun tip. If your sled isn't going fast enough, spray the bottom with cooking spray. It makes it super slick.
Ooh, life hack. What about building snowmen? Any tips for that?
The best snow for snowmen is that wet, sticky snow we talked about earlier, when it's just below freezing. Roll 3 balls of different sizes, stack them up, and get creative. You don't have to use carrots and coal. You can use sticks, leaves, pine cones, whatever you find.
I once made a snow dragon instead of a snowman.
That's awesome! You can also try snow painting. Fill spray bottles with water and food coloring and paint designs in the snow. Or make ice lanterns by freezing water in balloons, then popping the balloon and putting a candle inside.
Wait, that sounds amazing.
Right? And if you want to get really ambitious, try building an igloo or a snow fort. You can make snow bricks by packing snow into plastic containers, then stack them up like Lego blocks.
I'm definitely trying that, though I'll probably need a lot of snow.
Yeah, igloo building is not a quick project, but the point is, snow isn't just something to shovel and complain about. It's actually this amazing natural phenomenon that you can learn from and play in.
And every snowflake is unique. Animals have awesome survival tricks, and kids can build entire snow kingdoms.
Exactly. So next time it snows, go outside, catch some snowflakes, and remember, you're witnessing billions of tiny ice crystals that formed in the clouds and traveled all the way down to meet you.
That's beautiful, Maya. You should write greeting cards.
Maybe. Thanks for joining us on episode 2 of How It All Started. Stay warm out there, everyone.
And if it's snowing where you are, go build something awesome and send us pictures.
Bye.
Bye.